Hi, I'm Deserie Foley from PAX International, and thank you for tuning in to our third episode of Digital Minds Deciphered, and I'm here with my co-host, Steven.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Steven Dubuque. Welcome to our third episode of Digital Minds Deciphered. It's a platform that me and Deserie started just to normalize the conversation surrounding targeted individuals and gang stalking. Tonight, I'm really excited to have my friend Andrew on here. I've talked to him quite a bit over the past few months. I know a bit about his story, and I'm excited to have him on. So, Andrew, let's just get started with what happened at the beginning of your targeting. Like, what happened to make you think that something weird was going on? What was that like?
Well, I first started noticing this in 2014 is when I first started noticing this, but I'm sure I was chosen for this program well before that. Possibly the more, of course, I don't know this for sure. Sometimes I think that I was actually chosen when I was a kid for this program. Of course, I don't know that. So, I'm sorry, what was the question? What was it like?
Yeah, so like what were the first like things that happened that just seemed out of the ordinary and just like
Well, specifically, I kind of led an unorthodox lifestyle when I was younger, and I did party a lot and I moved around a lot. Had a bunch of different jobs, and so in 2014, I first started noticing this when I took a trip up to I was in San Francisco and I took a Greyhound up to the Triangle, up to Humboldt County, and started getting crazy gang stalking there. And then I went to Santa Rosa, California, and was getting just aggressively gang stalked and tried to work a job there. And then I went back to my dad's house in Kansas City, and it followed me there. It followed me on the Greyhound that I took all the way, and it followed me there. Like I moved into my dad's apartment, and literally like 3 people moved out right away when I moved in, and it was very bizarre. And at first I'm like, okay, this is probably just a coincidence. Of course, there are people when I go to the grocery store, there are people that were blinking their lights at me. They would do this air horn thing, like everywhere I go. And you hear it once, you're like, okay, that's something. I don't know what that is. And you hear it again, and you hear it again. You're like, okay, somebody's messing with me, And then people blinking their lights at you everywhere you go, and they'll come into the grocery store and do direct conversation or indirect conversation. I've heard both terms. Well, they'll get next to you and they'll talk about something that's going on in your life or something that nobody would know about unless they knew. And they'll say it indirectly at you to where you hear it and stuff like that. And then ultimately, I ended up getting high on some drugs in my father's house. And then they started using voice to skull technology on me, and then directed energy weapons on me.
Wow. And Andrew, if you want to like back up for a second, and you had said that you think that you've been targeted since you were a child. Did you ever have any kind of paranormal experiences as a child to make you believe that, or why do you believe that?
Paranormal?
Yes. Like things that are just not normal.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah, I wouldn't personally use the term paranormal, but I mean, I just had a really weird upbringing. I mean, I had 2 different stepdads. Both of them were in the military. We moved around a lot. My brother almost went to prison. My sister ran away from home for some abuse that was happening in our home. and then I chose like the party route.
Right.
So, and I moved around a lot. I mean, and sometimes especially in my 20s, I was hanging out with some very shady characters. Of course, I was never, the type to be extremely shady. There were some low points in my life when I was actively using drugs, but that was never in my heart. That's not, who I was. I'm not. So I think that for some reason, I think the government looks for anybody to put on this list, and I was just a good candidate.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I believe. Of course, I don't really know it for sure why I was put on this list. I might have pissed somebody off down the, there's a lot of jobs that I quit and moved around a lot. Maybe somewhere down the road, I pissed the wrong person off that had connections in the CIA or something.
Wow, Steven, can you remember that video you sent me about that TI with the voices were telling him about his drug use? Can you elaborate on that? Do you remember that video that you sent me,
Oh,
which I
yeah.
thought was very interesting? I sent it to a lot of different people.
Yeah, Andrew, I should share that with you. Off the top of my head, I can't think of the guy's name, but it really resonated with me because and I'm sorry if this offends other targeted individuals whose experience have nothing to do with drugs, but Andrew's as well as mine, our experience does. And for me, like the V2K I got was always when I was on heavy drugs. And so anyway, excuse me, just getting over a cold, guys. Sorry, but I found this guy who said that his V2K was telling him that it was, and of course you can never trust the things you hear from V2K,
Right.
but at one point they were saying that it was a DEA drug enforcement program that he was on, and that they were going to keep messing with him if he kept using. So he tested that theory. Like, he stopped using drugs for a couple weeks, and he said, just like they promised, like he was left alone. And then one day he was like, he really wanted to use, he hid in a dark closet or something and took one hit of something. I think meth. And instantly the V2K said, come on, Chris, we can see through your eyes. I think his name was Chris. I'll get back to you on that, but definitely worth a listen. But so this guy basically was basically targeted when he was using and left alone when he wasn't, at least for a short period of time.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard stories like that too. My story is like that too. They target drug users, especially methamphetamine users, because you are completely discredited. If you've ever used methamphetamine, especially while you're actively using it, and you go into a hospital or a police, you contact the police and you think people are after you. Well, I mean, people are probably following you because that's what's probably really going on.
It's the perfect
problem
crime.
Is
it's the perfect crime because they can get away with it because people can just be, oh yeah, it's drug induced.
Yeah, there's nothing you could say. I mean, there were times when this first started happening to me that I was actively using drugs, and I did call the police because I didn't know what else to do because I had all these cartel looking dudes, literally, I mean, dudes with teardrops and you know what I mean? 20 of them after me. I don't know what these guys are going to do. Are they going to kill me? I don't even know who these people are, but they all know who I am. And there's nothing you could say. A lot of times the police will participate on this too. I'm not saying that all police are participating on it. I think most of them are not, but there definitely are police that are participating on this because I've seen them. But to not to go too far from what Steve was talking about. They've done that with me. They've done all kinds of stuff. They said that they're criminal organizations. That they've said that it was my sister trying to contact me. They've said that it was past friends.
Oh, you're muted.
I just got a phone call. They've said all kinds of stuff to me, and at the end of the day, you can't believe them. And I've thought about that too. Maybe it is some type of DEA program to get people to stop using meth or something. But then, what about all the other people that have never even used drugs and that are getting voice disqualified?
Right.
So
doesn't
It's
totally
just an
make sense.
excuse. It's just an excuse to
Yeah.
experiment on people. I mean, if that's what they want to use, come to the city council and say, hey, we have this program. We're going to really be
Mhm.
helping these people, but it's just an excuse to experiment their technology.
Yeah, and I mean, we could talk for hours about how this is getting perpetrated, but at the end of I've done years of research on this. I'm not an expert, but coupled with my research and then my actual experience, I ultimately, and I encourage, not, I'm sure you guys have heard of these programs, but I encourage anybody who's going to listen to this, Google the term citizen core, Google the term infraguard, and then Google the COPS program,
Mhm.
Citizens on Patrol. And these are the organizations that are perpetrating this gang stalking. And you could just read their mission statement. I mean, these are pseudo government private organizations that work with the Department of Justice, FBI, CIA, to quote unquote, or not quote unquote, but so to speak, clean up the streets, or
Right.
be the watchdogs of society. So if you get put on some list because they don't like, they don't like the way that you've kept up your oil change on your car or something ridiculous, or they don't
Yeah.
like the style of shoes that you wear or something, or your sexual preference, they'll put you on the list, and then all of a sudden you are a threat. You are a security threat. And so your name, it doesn't matter where you go, where you move to, what apartment you move into, who you rent from, where it doesn't matter what you do, whatever town you go into, you are going to be put on alert, some type of list. And all these InfraGuard members and these certain people that are in the club, the police officers, firefighters, EMS workers, dental offices. I mean, the list goes on. PTA board members, Dylan store managers, the Safeway. It doesn't matter where you go. People, you're going to get all this gang stalking. I believe this is how the gang stalking gets perpetrated. Of course, it's more complicated than that. They also use slander campaigns in the community, and they actually do pay people, I believe. They contract this work out to low-level criminals. I believe they also use actual real-life criminals that are trying to escape a sentence.
Yeah.
I believe, yeah. So
I've
that's
thought about that. Like that seems to make a lot of sense to me. Is like they must have dirt on these criminals and like just
yes,
you and like that's their way out is like, okay, if you gang stalk or target this person, like you can avoid your prison time. That seems to make a lot of sense to me to how they get a lot of
yes,
these people involved. And it would make
yeah,
sense with some of these
yeah.
like honestly like low life looking people who are out there doing this stuff. It's like, because you wonder, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
how are these like low lifes, like how are they accessing this like super advanced like program, and
Yeah.
that seems to be an explanation that makes a lot of sense to me anyway.
Yeah, and it does, and that's how you get the people like the cartel look dude, or the thug looking
Yeah.
dudes with the teardrops, is because one, they are actual criminals. They,
Yeah.
they are actually in gangs, but they are told some type of slander campaign about you or some type of lie about you, and they're probably trying to escape a sentence. So it's a win-win for them. It's like, okay, I don't have to snitch on my homies, and then this guy, I believe, is some type of he's abuses women, or he drowns puppies for a living, or so we're gonna and these people are gonna give me gift cards and pay for my Greyhound tickets, my bus, and my hotel stays, if I follow this list of people around for the next 5 years, and then I don't have to do 10 years in prison. I honestly believe it's kind of like some snitch program like that. So, and
Yeah.
that's how you get these low level drug addict gang looking dudes following you around. Not because you're on a hit list. It's because they are quite literally in a snitch program, and they are working with the FBI.
Right.
Which is
Andrew, can you tell us a little bit about do you get V2K right now, or is it gone?
no, I get 24/7 voice to skull while I'm at work.
Can
Yes.
you talk a little bit about that? Like kind of describe, like if you were talking to someone that didn't know about the program, like if you can describe the voices, if it's two males and a female, the sensations in the brain, and anything else you can
Mhm.
describe it.
Yeah, there's just so much to talk about, but I'll try to make it just clear as possible. So yeah, I get 24/7 voice to skull technology, or voice of God. Also remote neuro monitoring. Um, okay, I'm not an engineer. I couldn't tell you exactly how the program's getting this program is getting deployed. But you can Google terms like Dr. Alan Frey, the Frey effect, of course, Robert Duncan, and Richard Lighthouse. Really, whoever's watching this, you can Google those names. Richard Lighthouse with Targeted Justice can explain more the technological ways this is getting perpetrated. But me, it's just 24/7 derogatory comments. Sometimes it's mostly a male. It says all kinds of ridiculous stuff. Most of the time, it calls me a pedophile all day. I say it because it's not a real person. It is some type of AI feedback loop software that responds to your emotions and whatever you're doing. Occasionally, there are real people that hop in, but very occasionally. A lot of that happened when I was using drugs years ago. Most of the time is when the real person will hop in and really start messing with you, and that's when they use the holograms and stuff to really mess with somebody. That's been my experience, at least. But yeah, right now, yeah, I'm completely sober and I still get 24/7 V2K, and it's just nonstop. And I have different ways that I cope with it.
I'm sorry, Stephen, I know it's your turn to ask a question, but I have another question. Okay, so when you get these voices, do you actually get any kind of sensations in the brain, like tingling feelings?
Yeah, my head will get hot sometimes. I'll get tingling a little bit in different parts of my brain. I don't know for sure if that is the program or not, because there's no way I can tell. I suspect it is. They also have done like little zaps on me and stuff, and they have, I guess, used directed energy weapons on me. And that's what I'm calling them. They don't do that a lot with me. But I think most of it is they can pretty much hack into your brain. So unfortunately, and so they pretty much bypass the ear, and you're not actually
hearing. If you plug your ears when you're hearing the voices, the voice will be coming from the forehead because it's actually vibrating within the bones.
Yeah, so you're not actually hearing it. You're kind of like
in the bones.
It
comes from the forehead.
So twisted. Have you found anything that helps you sleep at night? Like, first of all, I'm so sorry that you go through this every day, all day. That really sucks. It's like, it's so wrong. And just for people who have never heard of this, like, it is real. I can 100% attest to that fact. There was, in the beginning, there was nights where I was literally just kept up all night with somebody who I couldn't see, just talking shit, just saying all sorts of nasty stuff to me. So it is real. What he's talking about is real. I've talked to Andrew on multiple occasions. He doesn't have any psychological disorders, no mental conditions. He's just a normal guy. So, I'm sorry that you're going through this right now. Is there anything that you found that helps you like sleep at night? I guess is my question.
Well, I think mind state has to do a lot with it. And your mind, just your all around view on, I am a Christian. I do read the Bible every day. I'm not perfect or anything. But that does help me. I know I'm getting persecuted. I know I'm getting tortured. And that's how I look at it. This is what it is. It is what it is. Right now, these evil people have this technology, and I'm getting tortured. And so when I wake up, it is what it is. That's how it is. I'm not going to let this thing stop me from living. And so your mind state has a lot to do with it. And I suggest if they listen to this and you're newly just start experiencing this, that's how you have to look at it. And I use the David Case file. You could Google David Case V2K, and his website should pop up. Now it
It's
has not.
binaural beats, right? Is that what that is?
No,
Binaural
no,
beats?
no, it's actually a file that he created. I don't know exactly how he did it, but he used to have the artificial tinnitus, which is something I get also. The
I
ringing
get
in
that
the
too.
the ringing in the ear.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and so he had that really bad, and he this actually got rid of it for him. He claims, and I believe him because I've spoke to him. But at night, back to Stephen's questions, anything to help me sleep at night. When I play that at night, when I sleep, I've gotten used to it. It is kind of an annoying sound. You have to get used to it. And then I play a podcast in the background. What it does, the V2K will still get through, but it does something like David Case calls it neuroplasticity. It almost like blocks or confuses the signal when I'm listening to the podcast and playing the file. I have it on an external MP3 player because it's harder for them to hack into it because it's not connected to the internet. But so that does help me sleep at night.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Are you for some reason I thought that was binaural beats that he put out. Is it like a boo 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 kind of a sound?
It's
that he plays? Is a frequency?
Yeah, it's a wave file, and you get these special. It's not expensive at all. It's less than $40. You can get the whole setup. But he creates a CD too. But that's ancient technology. So you just get some micro SD. I get a little SanDisk player. It has to be able to play wave files, WAV, and it's these Koss KTX Pro headphones. Now these aren't the only ones because they have special coils in them, but these are $19.99. And
Are those
there's
the
something about
bone conductor headphones?
no, that's something different. A lot of people have gotten results from binaural beats and bone conduction headphones. I haven't tried that yet, so I can't speak on it. But these ones have special coils in them, and David Koss actually says he has done research on the bone conduction headphones, and these ones actually work better than the bone conduction headphones. He says so.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
No, I was going to ask you if you had any dream simulations, if that's something that you're experiencing.
Yeah, I do. Of course, there's no way I can prove that it's them doing it, but I'm almost positive that it is. Unfortunately, not to be inappropriate, a lot of them are weird sexual stuff, and a lot of it involves me doing drugs. They'll make me feel like I'm doing drugs and then engaging in some weird type of sexual behavior. It's very disgusting. These people. It's when I read the Bible, they tell me that I'm not a Christian and Jesus isn't real and stuff. I mean, these people are just more than disgusting. I mean, these people are going to hell. I mean, of course, I don't know that, but it's what these people do is just disgusting. I mean, this is beyond. I mean, this is right up there with people that abuse kids, rapists, people that abuse like special needs kids and elderly people. I mean, these are these type of people that are in our government, and you are going to work and you're paying for them to do this to people. I mean, that's how bad it's gotten. But I don't mean to get political or anything, but it's just disgusting what these people do, man.
I still can't believe that there's not one like actual legitimate real perp or perpetrator of this crime who's come forward due to a guilty conscience and like been like, here's the machine that we've been using, like I can't do this anymore, I'm so sorry.
There has been.
Yeah, there had. Well, Brian Caffron, I guess.
Yeah, he stayed in my apartment. I housed him for, I would say, 2 months. He stayed in my apartment, and he is who he says he is. Okay, so
he is. Okay, I never knew that. I never was sure.
Yeah, I like I said, I let him stay. I was trying to house him, to take care of him because he was blowing the whistle. It had all this information. He didn't let the TI community know that he was part of the program where he was a gang stalker, but he didn't want the TIs to hate him. So he kind of like left that part out, but he told me that how it would work is that he said that they had these cell phones and they were mostly going after the homeless people, and that he would get a phone call and say, okay, the target is going to go up to you and ask you for a cigarette. you need to tell him no. So it's just like stuff like that. Or they would follow the target into the restaurant and sit by
Mhm.
him and just kind of listen to what they were saying and report back. So that's what he did. But Steven and Andrew, he is who he said he was, like legit.
Wow.
And you want to know something crazy? Brian Caff. I spent a lot of time. I've lived in Seattle for a long time. Brian, I don't know how you pronounce his name, Caffron, or what, Caffron, or he talks about the DESC program in Seattle, Downtown Emergency Services Program in Seattle, and how it's this huge network to target homeless people.
Right.
And they get homeless people from other cities and come and drop them off. And they all access service. I used to access services for about 3 years at DSC. They even helped me get a little apartment a long time ago. This was a long time ago, before I even really noticed this targeting, when I was actively using drugs. So I think that very well could possibly have something to do with my targeting. Me being targeted.
Good point. Yeah. So what's it like trying to find like consistent work? I remember when I was getting V2K, and I remember like you described, like we were kind of talking before we started recording, how I was going to work at this place for an amount of time and everything was fine. I was doing great there. I didn't call out. And then just one day, all of a sudden, my boss calls me in on my day off, all weird, like, "Hey, can you come in?" And she just made up like a lie. She's like, "Hey, your register was short $200." So, and it was a complete lie. I tried to defend myself, like that's impossible. I didn't take anything from you guys. She's like, "Yeah, I don't know. Well, we got to let you go though." So, I've experienced and it just, dude, that sent me into like such a depression, and I started drinking around the clock, and then I started using other drugs, and then that led into like the worst targeting I've ever experienced with, ended up with, shadows on my wall and holograms and street leader elaborate but anyway, I'm just back to like the job thing. What's it been like for you lately to like try to keep like a consistent job? Do you run into the workplace harassment a lot?
Well, lately it's been okay, because I just kind of been working menial jobs in restaurants and not trying to do anything too complicated. I'm just kind of accepting lower paid positions where I go in, do my job. I don't really have to cooperate with a lot of people, or if I do, it's just talking to them very short amount of time. I am trying to get another job somewhere else, but
Awesome.
it's actually going pretty good now. When this first started happening to me, and when this was, for years they did slander campaigns against me, and I told you about my experience with that job one time. But that happened multiple. There was times where I moved from city to city to city trying to escape this program, and every city I would get another job, and every job that I got, I had the same group of people following me around. Like I saw the same people that would come in. One of them even got a job at my job as a waiter.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, these people, I'm very important to these people for some reason. I don't know what it is about me. I'm a nobody, but I was like, at one point, I was like, I don't know what tier system they have on targets, but I was probably up, at the top or something, because they had like these people following me around. But anyways, back to the job thing. They've told all kinds of, they told people I was a racist one time. I remember I got a part-time job at Wendy's one time, and because it was like one of the only jobs I could get at the time, and it was just kind of humbling. And I was like, it's just, I needed a job, so it's like I got to get a job somewhere. And then like I had one of the guys, I went in there one day, and he was just looking at me all mean. And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, don't talk to me unless you want to fight. And so somebody had told this kind of stuff. So somebody had told this guy, something disgusting about me, like I'm a pedophile or something. I don't know what they told him, because he wouldn't even talk to me. But they use people.
Yeah, it's almost like they tried to like do a whole smear campaign against you. I mean, the same thing was happening to me, except for the rumor was, and like I said, I heard it from somebody else that told me They said that how they got her, I had somebody actually confess and say that they had tricked her into cooperating with them, which is by just playing like little tricks on me and watching me. When she came clean with it, and she had told me that she had got a DUI, and while she was in jail, that's when they approached her and told her all these things about me and said that I was under some kind of investigation for what was it called? Like it was some kind of snuff porn. Yeah,
Oh
it
my
was
God.
bad. It was like really bad and it said something to do with Midnight Productions. So don't ever Google that. Don't ever look that up because it's just horrible. So that the only reason why I know about it is because she told me that, but it was a way to, before any of this happened to me, before if I was just a regular, person, didn't know about nothing, and an FBI agent knocks on my door and says, "Hey, your neighbor, he's doing this and that, and I need you to help, watch him. He's under investigation. What's going to happen? I'm going to watch that person because now, why would I ever think that my government would ever lie to me?" So that's what kind of happens in the TI program.
Yeah, they've done that. I've seen them do the same exact thing to me as far as the pretending to be some type of agent or
Right.
whatever with the people that
Yeah,
live around me.
it's just all lies to get people to cooperate with their little, game, and then, and everyone's thinking that you're just a bad person and you deserve it. So I can totally relate with that, but that's what they used with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you tell about like your I don't know. I'm super curious about this. We're probably gonna, and I know you've had experience with this, so I'm gonna ask. I know you've been like shown holograms before, and just for what that means to somebody who hasn't been through that, because not all targeted individuals see stuff like that. But for me, it was like a video display, clearly technology that was somehow like broadcast directly into my apartment. In my case, it was on like a light bulb that I was looking at, not on a computer, not on there was no electronic medium there for me to watch this video, yet I was seeing like a video clip play out. So Andrew, I know you've had experience with that. Can you talk about what? And it's so strange to talk about something like this because I have no idea how it's accomplished. It's super secret and mysterious. But Andrew, can you at least validate that and tell about what you experienced as far as that, seeing holograms?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't really actually believe they're actual holograms. Like, there's not like a light somebody project with a projector, like projecting a hologram. So I don't really believe that they're actual real holograms. You can use that as kind of an umbrella term.
Yeah, right.
I think essentially what they do is they literally hack into your brain, and they've done this most of the time when I was actively using drugs. Again, because you're discredited, you're actively using drugs, and then you're seeing stuff in your light bulb. Okay, you need to get a mental health diagnosis. I mean, so you essentially it's the perfect crime because you can't go to anybody about it because you're using drugs, and so nobody's going to believe you. It doesn't matter how much evidence you have. But I mean, my experience with it is what they've done is they've done stuff like that, or like I'll be laying in my bed and then like a fire, like the smoke alarm will turn into like a face, and then the face will start talking to me and then telling me all these derogatory things like we're going to break into your apartment and come and cut your head off on the bed or something. I mean, it's all stuff like that. And they have done stuff where they've tried to pretend like it was my friend. I had this one, I'd been up for a few days, but I had this one ATM machine turn into like this figure, and it was like pointing to get out, like, get out of here, get out of here. Like, it was very weird. It didn't turn into like a person, but it started resembling, it's hard to explain, features of a person with a face and stuff. And I've actually had straight up, one time they actually were gang stalking me so hard, and I was genuinely scared. I mean, this is when I didn't know what was going on early on in my targeting, but I was in this one situation where they were just everywhere. If you had people coming in gang stalking me, and I was honestly scared. I thought, man, this is the final part of my program where they kill me. I mean, I was literally, I mean, talk about PTSD. This stuff instills in you. But they had in this scenario, they actually had. I would look at street lights, and they actually had one of these street lights turn into this this weird person with like a face, and then it had a noose and it was like hanging itself, like going up and down the street, like I don't know, it was like like dropping like. It sounds fantastic. It sounds fantastic, and because it is, but they can do this. This technology is out there. They can induce images in your head, and this is. I honestly think it is the same technology that they use with the sleep with the dream manipulation. I believe it's the same technology that they use in the sleep or in the dream manipulation.
And when you do see the holograms, even though you don't believe they're holograms, but even when you do see them, do you ever close your eyes to see if you see it in your mind too? If it's in the mind's eye? Have you ever tried to do that?
Well, I don't currently see them. They do stuff like that too when I'm about to sleep. Like when I'm closing my eyes, they'll
you see
have
something in the eyelids, huh?
Yeah,
it's like something starts to hide. Yeah, okay.
And it also happens right when I wake up for about 15-20 seconds. Like I'll look at a chair and it'll be like a person or something. It's very weird. There's really no way I have to prove that that's them, or it's just some type of.
But did you have it before though? Like before you were targeted, did you ever see that? We'll say it's something that they've done to activate the brain. There's something that was done. It's like they opened doors that were not supposed to open. But yeah, the same thing happens to me. The first maybe I would say minute that I'm awake, that I'm starting to wake up, my alarm goes off, and I got it, for work, and I hit snooze and I'm still like half awake and half going back to sleep. That's when I'll start to see things that are just not normal dreams. It's happening in behind my eyelids, and then when I fully like wake up, and then all of a sudden I don't have access to it. So that's what kind of happens to me.
Yeah, you described it perfect. The same exact thing happens to me, and I'm sure it happens to a lot of other targeted people too. Right. So yeah, that's exactly what happens to me. So.
Yeah, that's it's like insane. Like I've noticed this has been happening to me lately, and tell me if this is happening to you. I'll wake up when the alarm goes off, and then I will have access to the internet with my mind. I'm either scrolling through the internet, and sometimes I can see like documents, but the documents in a different language, and then I try to remember what it's saying, and then when I completely wake up, I can't remember what the words were saying, even though it was in a different language. I was trying to remember the letters. Did you ever see any of that?
They do similar stuff with me, but not with web pages. I play chess competitively, and they'll do similar stuff like that with chess. Like I'll play a whole chess game, which is insanely hard. Well, which is insanely hard to do when you're completely awake. I don't think I could. I probably could play one game, but up to a certain point.
So
but when you get to the end,
playing chess with AI, that they have like those video games on the computer where you can play chess with AI, and then you're actually doing it in your mind.
Yeah, and a lot of it's when I'm just waking up or when I'm just semi-asleep. Like I'll have with very a lot of clarity, I'll be able to, and I'll almost want to wake up and write this stuff down because it's like, oh, that, you know what I mean? But then it goes away. Of course, there's really no way to 100% say that it is the program, but I really think it is because I don't have that good of that's genius level stuff, and I don't have that good of visualization when I'm awake. So.
Right. Yeah. Because the previous guy that we just interviewed, he's able to play video games in his mind. So and then I'm like able to I guess pull up what I see is like highly sophisticated technology and the blueprints of it. That's what I see
Hmm.
in my mind. And then you have this. So it's like maybe it's just different things that they show us. But go ahead, Stephen. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to mention this video I saw earlier today of this guy on Roy's channel, Griffin from Ohio. He talked about for whatever reason his targeters gave him the ability to to queue up like a selection of 50 songs in his mind.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing,
Like
but
Yeah,
Spotify in the mind.
you're gonna laugh even more. He says he says, and like I'll think of the song. He's like, and he even says the song. He's like, the song by Celine Dion, "Power of Love." I don't know why you'd want to listen to that, but he says he just starts thinking of it, and then the whole song will play in his mind, and he's got like. So I
yeah,
guess my point here is that like people have no idea what this technology is capable of. I don't even think people who have been targeted know the full extent of what this technology is capable of. Like this is some powerful stuff. Some crazy
yeah,
things are on the horizon in the next 10, 15 years that just, and that's part of the reason why we're doing this show, like to try to like wake people up, like listen to the things we're saying. Like this all
yeah,
happened. It's all happening to all of us. Like, I mean, and they're not using it for good. Like not, I'm sure these people who are doing it, I'm sure they're having all sorts of fun with all these cool capabilities and tricks, but the people who don't have it, like the targeted individuals, we're literally getting like bullied, harassed, tortured in some cases. Like,
yeah,
and so just want to like wake people up that this is real.
yeah. And it's a bottom line. I'm totally on the targeted justice. That doesn't mean I agree with every single thing that anybody that is involved with targeted justice says, but I'm totally on board with the targeted justice school of thought. I think this ultimately coming via satellite and getting bounced off of
Mhm.
cell towers or anything that emits an energy, some type of energy. But I mean, you get on the list, they'll put you on the list for anything. Drug user, they do it to a lot of gay men. They do it to a lot of African American women, a lot of their black people in general. And so they put you on the list because there are no terrorists. I mean, there are no terrorists. I mean, there probably are a few people that have ill intentions, that came from Iran and stuff. I mean, that is a real thing, but the odds of that, the percentage of that is so low. But they have all this funding and all these departments,
Right.
Homeland Security. And so, do you think that the Department of Homeland Security is going to be trying to shrink the department anytime soon? Hell no, heck no. They're trying to grow that thing as big as they can. So how do they
Right.
grow it? They have to create a problem. So if there's no problem, we have to create a problem. So the new problem is you. You're not washing your car windows correctly. So we're going to put you on a list. Or we don't
Mhm.
like what kind of podcast you listen to. So we're going to put you on a list. And once you're on that list, then we can legally use these military grade weapons on you. And it's all about money and funding. That's what I believe. These people get funding, and the funding's dispersed to InfraGard and Citizen Corps and the local police department, and all the way down to the low level gang stalker that's getting gift cards and hotel vouchers to run up on you in an orange sweatshirt and tell you that you're a horrible person or something. I don't know, or whatever. It's all about funding. They need to create problems and terrorists. You're a suspected terrorist because you've moved around too much.
I think you're dead on, man.
So you move into an apartment complex, they're going to tell your apartment manager how much of a terrorist you are,
Yeah,
or whatever, and then he's going to come and harass you.
not to get, starting back in 2001, that's the Patriot Act and all that. That's not to get too off in conspiracy theories, but yeah,
Mhm.
this whole creating terrorist things, this illusion of terrorists, so that they can have their watch list and just put on whoever they want to put on. I think you're right with that.
Yeah, it's completely out of control. And at the end of the day, this is a direct result of a government that's gotten completely too big, out of scope, and just out of control. And we are witnessing an authoritarian dictatorship surveillance state that humanity has never seen before. And the crazy thing about it is most people don't know that it exists. I mean,
Right.
it's just, and we're like people crying, voices crying in the wilderness. I mean,
We're the first wave. We're the experiment because they have big plans with this technology, and we're the ones that are being experimented on. And it's actually really sad if you really think about it. But we have probably time for like one or two more questions, but I'm gonna ask one. Do you get directed energy weapons? And if you do, can you describe what those feel like?
Yeah, a lot of times, I've been sober for a while, but a lot of times I've turned to alcohol, because I feel like it's the only, I don't know, I'm not using an excuse, just while I'm drinking,
It's okay.
I kind of,
it's okay. I have a couple drinks here and there too, so don't feel
I
bad.
I overindulge in it, and I think this is part of their plan. This is what they want me to do, but they'll use the directed energy weapons a lot on me when I wake up with a hangover, and when I'm trying to stop drinking, or when I'm actively drinking, they'll do like little zaps and burns, and it's almost like they'll vibrate my body. So
Do you ever feel it on the head and the brain, or where does it come from? Like, can you describe that? I mean, the best way, we all describe it differently, but the best way I can describe it is how it starts is like, if you're ever, it's a sunny day and it's hot outside and you were to go outside and you can feel the sun beaming into the head. That's how it feels, but it feels when you're inside of a house and there's no sun, and that's how it begins with me. I don't know if that's how it begins with you when it starts to hit the brain.
Yeah, I've experienced that too. Exactly. That's a good way to describe it the way you did. Yeah, I've experienced that same thing. Yeah, but it hasn't really been very extreme. Like I'm not like yelling and screaming.
Oh yeah. It's more like a bother, and it kind of disrupts the thought process. And then there's sometimes I see like these strobe lights in the eyes when I'm getting hit with a weapon, and then I will feel like these little ting like almost like bugs in the brain. Another TI described it differently. She described it perfectly. She said you never know when you ever get those goosebumps on your skin and it just rises. She says it feels like that in the brain. I'm like, oh my God, that's a better way of describing it. But that's what it feels like is the little bumps in the brain. Like, is that what you experience?
Yeah, I experienced the exact same thing. I mean, you kind of
Exactly
explained it better. The exact same thing is, I get all that stuff, and that's probably about the extent of it. Mainly, I get that stuff, and then mainly it's just the 24/7 voice to skull. But I've really kind of learned to cope with it. So.
Well, hey, Andrew, is there anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap up? I mean, I just want to say it's really been good to catch up with you. I'm glad that you're working. I'm glad that you're sober. That actually makes my day. I'm just
thank you for coming on last minute too. We appreciate you.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I just I try to say this on every show that or video that I'm on. If you're newly going through this, if this just started happening to you and you're wondering like what's going on, there are like all of us here, we can attest that this is obviously going on to other people, and you have to calm down, take a deep breath. The biggest advice I can give to you is don't believe anything that the voice to skull says to you. That's so right. It's going to sound like it's coming from different directions. It's going to make you think it's your upstage neighbor. It's going to make you think that your husband, your ex-girlfriend, your landlord. It's going to
Yeah,
make
Steven.
it's going to make you think that it's one of these people that are somehow communicating to you in your head. And what it wants you to do is it wants you to act out. That's the whole purpose of it. It wants you to act out, go knock on your neighbor's door and you get violent with them, or it's going to make you look insane. So don't believe anything the voice to skull tells you. And then also that's the biggest advice I can give you. And then also don't let this stop you from living your life. Don't stay locked up in your apartment in your house all day looking at gang stalking videos and your covers just constantly. It's good to stay informed, talk to other TIs and stuff, but go out, go for a walk, go to church, get involved with something, because that's what they want you to do. They want you to be completely shut off from life, quit your job, become homeless. Don't let these people win. I mean, I get the 24/7 voice to skull. I'm going out taking walks. I'm going to church. I'm not saying I'm, perfect or, you should be like me, but I mean, do what you like to do. I mean, don't stop doing what you do. I mean, have goals, write them down in a daily agenda, and just do that, because don't let these criminals, these cowards, win and take your life from you. So.
Yeah, these people are bothering you and attacking you enough. Like, don't help them. They're doing their job. Don't help them by participating in your own destruction. I think he just gave great advice for sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Andrew, for that. Very inspiring. Yeah,
thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay. So until next week, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Okay.